I'm big with teens, girls, lesbians, the mentally ill, the very sad.
KATSEYE will never be the same because their target audience has shifted to children.
Us against the world, shaking ass in the parking lot.
How she fucked that note up?
Who is KATSEYE'S target audience? Who are they even being marketed to? Because when you look at what they put out and look at who is actually showing up for those things, it does not match up at all. And the more music they release, the more confusing it gets. Let's start with the concept because that is where you should be able to figure out the audience pretty quickly. Their concept is mature, fully intentionally adult. We're talking pseudo bikinis, skin-tight outfits, low-rise jeans, bras, booty shorts, choreography with lots of ass shaking. The Pinky Up music video has the girls in revealing clothing, saying obvious innuendo,
If it got that deep.
with lyrics that go,
Us against the world, shaking ass in the parking lot.
Then you have Internet Girl, which sounds fun and bubbly, until you actually listen to what it's saying.
Eat zucchini, eat zucchini.
The Eat Zucchini lyric having a double meaning, which the members have confirmed themselves. Norley had a moaning audio in the background, which the producer said he got from a video.
This song, oh my god, that new beat.
There are marketing, so you'd assume their main audience would be adults, right? Actually wrong. When you look at who is actually showing up for KATSEYE, a massive chunk of it is kids. Young kids. We're talking 9-year-olds who are throwing KATSEYE themed birthday parties and singing the lyrics to their songs without even knowing the meanings. They've been nominated at the Kids' Choice Awards, and most of their audience are actual children. But why is this the case? How does a group with an obvious mature concept, with mature lyrics and choreography, appeal to kids? Well, it's because of how their songs sound. KATSEYE'S music is often described as brain rot music. Despite them having some lyrics with innuendos, at the end of the day, kids will listen to anything that sounds like it's meant for them. And unserious music presented under the guise of being fun appeals to kids. So of course they would have a kid audience because despite them having a mature concept, they don't have a mature sound.
KATSEYE will never be the same because their target audience has shifted to children. During Dream Academy and after the release of their debut EP Sis, I argue that majority of their fanbase was older teens and young adults. Even the music reflected a youthful vibe but with a mature sound and meaningful lyrics that are relatable to people in that age group. Once Gnarly was released and Hype saw the hype and how insanely viral that song went, they knew what they had to do to cash in, which is target the children, because that's where the money is. Releasing Internet Girl was the next step to continue to do what the children like. KATSEYE even attended the Kids' Choice Awards last year, and that literally cemented their choice for who they want as their fans. Of course, by their choice, I mean Hybe. And this is so clear because there have been many viral posts of fans posting, "My mom says 1 million likes and she will buy me a KATSEYE album." I doubt any adult fans would be posting that. There has been a significant rise in crazy immature fan posts amongst the icon community, and I would say it's because a majority of their fans are now children, who are obviously young and immature and mean. During their debut album, the fandom was not like this. People can argue that it's because KATSEYE is now insanely popular and that just comes with fame, but I think it's because Hybe is catering KATSEYE to children.
The gap between what the visuals and the lyrics are doing and what the music actually sounds like is wide enough that a 9-year-old and a 25-year-old can walk away from the same song having had a completely different experience of it. So their concept might appeal to adults, but their sound appeals to kids. But it gets even more complicated because alongside the kids, you have the gays. Now, if you're active in music and pop culture spaces, you'd know that majority of female pop stars tend to have a predominantly male gay fan base. They're among the backbone of pop and stan culture. With KATSEYE'S concept, regardless of how bad the songs could be, they happen to fall under the gay con scale, meaning they fit the requirement to appeal to the pop culture stan Twitter gaze. And their concept and image appeal aside, they make it a point to include queer people in their concepts. Like in Pinky Up, we get a scene with some trans dolls, all styled up and featured in a dedicated segment of the video. In their song Mean Girls, they have a lyric that says "God bless the T-girls," which we know means God bless the trans girls. This is on top of the fact that most of the members are openly queer. Most of the members have come out as bi, and they have quite some questionable choreographies. Like on stage, you'd see the girls performing choreos that are very suggestive. So, they are clearly also trying to attract the broader queer and lesbian audience, on top having a kid fan base while appealing to gay men.
What is your message to the gays?
We love the gays!
And then, completely separate from those groups, you have the people who are there because Gnarly, Internet Girl, and Pinky Up are genuinely strange songs and they think that's interesting. The people who are there purely because the music is doing something sonically interesting. Gnarly is a legitimately strange song. It's hyperpop, written by Alice Longyugal, who is a pioneer of that genre, built on gritty rave synths and 808s. And it sounds absolutely nothing like what a polished K-pop adjacent girl group is supposed to release. Then Pinky Up comes out and it is described as a technopop, hyperpop, club jam meant for raves and concerts and parties. Internet Girl was compared to an early Charlie XCX. These are references that mean something specific to a specific kind of listener. The person who cares that Alice Longyugal wrote Gnarly. The person who caught the Charlie XCX comparison. The person who probably liked what Pinky Up was sonically going for. They are there because they release songs that are abrasive and unpredictable and doesn't follow the rules of what a clean pop single is supposed to sound like. The problem is that this audience is the most demanding and least forgiving. The experimental music crowd does not show up out of loyalty. They show up out of curiosity. And the moment KATSEYE starts sanding down the edges to appeal to a wider audience, they will be the first ones to document the sellout in real time. Technopop, EDM, hyperpop, electropop have their niche audience, which I guess KATSEYE also appeals to. Then they have songs like Gabriela, which appeals to the general public while simultaneously targeting the Latin market with the inclusion of Spanish. Gabriela is a good song and a smart move commercially, and it was also successful commercially and it hits the general public, but it also represents exactly the problem. It sounds nothing like Gnarly, Pinky Up, or Internet Girl, and a fan who came in through Gabriela looking for more of that melody is going to be genuinely confused the first time they hear the Gnarly production.
Let's see what's in that golden egg. Oh!
So now you have children, gay men, the queer community, the experimental music fans, the general public, and somewhere underneath all of that, presumably the young adult women that the whole concept was probably originally meant for, all sitting in the same fandom, all consuming the same content, all having a completely different reason for being there. And sure, having a wide and diverse audience sounds good, but it does have its issues. If you designed your art to speak to multiple people in a way that coheres, that is one thing. What KATSEYE has is not that. What KATSEYE has is different parts of their output accidentally speaking to completely different and incompatible people, with no clear line connecting any of it. The issue with this is that none of these audiences actually wants the same thing from Katseye. The gay men and the queer community would want the mature concept, while the children should not be watching or consuming those contents at all. The niche experimental music crowd would want more songs that sound like Gnarly, more Pinky Up, more Internet Girl. The general pop listeners who came in through Gabriella, Touch, or Game Boy want more songs like that are easy to listen to. You genuinely cannot make one piece of content that fully satisfies all these people simultaneously. And trying to do so is not artistic range, it is a lack of editorial discipline. Range means a coherent artist stretching their sound in new directions. What this is a group releasing whatever seems interesting or strategic in a given moment without any apparent conversation about what the overall statement is supposed to be. Katseye has a signature sound, but at the same time they don't. They appeal to no one in particular, but at the same time they appeal to everyone. At some point, the audience is going to want to know who Katseye actually is as an artist, not as a brand, not as a cultural moment, not as a symbol of representation, as actual artists. What is the sound? What is the vision? What does a Katseye album feel like from start to finish as a coherent statement? Right now, that question does not have an answer, and they don't seem interested in finding one. But career longevity in pop music does not come from being everything to everyone for a short period of time. It comes from having a core audience that knows exactly what they are going to get from you, and shows up every single time because of that. The children will grow out of it. The general pop listeners will move on when the next thing comes along. The experimental music crowd would leave the second they feel like Katseye is getting too commercial. The queer audience will stay loyal as long as the representation feels genuine and not like a strategy. And that is a fine line that gets harder to walk on the bigger and more famous you get. What Katseye has right now is noise, a lot of it, coming from a lot of directions. But noise is not the same thing as momentum, and attention is not the same thing as a fan base. At some point, Hybe and Geffen are going to have to decide what they are actually building here, because right now it looks less like a long-term artist development strategy and more like a series of experiments with no hypothesis. So who is Katseye for? Still cannot tell you. Still do not think Hybe or Geffen can either. I still do not think even the Katseye girls can tell you. That is an actual problem that somebody is going to have to sit down and answer eventually.